Hey, what up guys? I am Kai from Creative. No, that's a bad intro. You know, if my intro to my movie reviews doesn't prove how much I love this movie, I don't know what does. Inception, the movie that everybody hates because of the ending, but I think it's a really good movie because for me, the movies that I really tend to like the most are like action suspense kind of movies that screw with your mind, and then they like have this kind of crazy convoluted storyline, but then when you get the storyline, it's like, oh my goodness, that is so cool, watch it again. You know, that's kind of my reaction to Inception. And I know some people are like, oh my gosh, no, Inception was terrible. The story is like, oh, he kills his wife and then he keeps bringing the wife back in his dreams, and then like, oh, he says like, don't bring back memories, but then he builds his wife out of memories, and then his wife builds things in his dreams from their memories. It's a very weird movie. That was a terrible synopsis of the storyline. Basically, the idea of Inception is that there's this guy, Dom Cobb, who's been accused of killing his wife. But the way that he's been accused is kind of weird because growing up, he was taught how to go into people's minds and like mess with their subconscious and with their dreams, right? And so he and his wife went into the subconscious layer, and they kept going deeper and deeper and deeper until they were in this state called limbo, where it's basically eternity. And they spent 50 years in limbo, like 50 years of their life in limbo, and so they basically spent their whole life in this dreamscape. So since they spent so long and they built so many things out of their memories in limbo, Dom's wife eventually came to convince herself that limbo was the real world, and the real world that they were in was a dream. And so she ends up killing herself because she thinks that the real world is actually a dream. And in doing so, like before she kills herself, she like messed up the hotel room they were staying at so that it looked like Dom attacked her and then pushed her off the ledge and killed her subsequently. And so he's on the run for his life. He's trying to get back to his kids and stuff. And the way that he has to do it is by doing this like illegal act called extraction, which extraction is going into someone's mind and pulling out vital information. It's basically, how would I explain it? It's kind of like if you were to break into a vault, and then you would take out important information from that vault. It's kind of like hacking into a computer system, but instead of a computer system, you're actually accessing the person's mind, and then the person's mind can be trained in their subconscious to defend against you, or they have like several different defense mechanisms, or like other weird things will happen because then it pops up like, oh hey, this is my subconscious, this is how it looks, you know. So that's how that goes. And that's basically the storyline. He's trying to get back to his kids. Okay, that's the basic premise. So the storyline advances from there when this Japanese guy, Saito, says, hey, there's this dude in here. He's trying to control all of the nuclear power. I don't exactly remember, but he's trying to control all the power, like electricity power. But I need you to tell his son that his dead father, his father just recently died, always wanted him to break up the company. And so the idea that he suggests for the main character Dom to do this is like, I want you to go in and create Inception. And Inception is the idea of convincing someone's subconscious that the dream is real, basically. So that's what, and everyone says,
what do you want from us?
Inception. Is it possible?
Of course not.
It's really kind of complicated. Like, you plant the idea so that they think that they've thought of it themselves the whole time, or that was the idea the whole time. And so it's like, if I were to say, don't think of elephants, right? You're thinking, oh hey, elephants. But then you can track the idea back to me, right? But then the idea of Inception is like, you've always had the idea of elephants in your mind. It was just hidden in your subconscious. But then through this extraction, or through this interaction in the dream of in the Inception mission, it's like brought out, and you're like, oh my goodness, elephants are what I've always wanted in my life. Yeah, so then Dom figures like, oh crud, I need like a very specific team of people to help me go on this mission. So he hires this one guy that he's been with apparently for a number of years they strike up conversation like they've known each other for a while. His name is Arthur. He's basically like their point man. He's their he's the second in charge. He's the guy who leads them through and takes out the enemies and gives them like guidance on like, okay, so this is what you should expect here. This is where we're going. This is the plan. He's like the man with the plan kind of thing, and in cooperation with Dom. The next person is like Ariadne. She's the architect. She creates the layout of the dream. Eames, he's the forger. What he does is that he can change his appearance in the dream so that he like can trick other people within the dream to think like, oh hey, wow, kind of interesting that my subconscious told me that, because then you wouldn't recognize it as Eames, right? Yusuf, who was the chemist who helped create a sedative that would put them in a deep sleep, deep enough for them to go into several layers of Fisher's mind. Those are the characters in here, and the thing I really liked about how they created the characters was that they made it so that the only one that really mattered, because it was relevant to the storyline, was Dom. And then if you didn't want to care about any of the other characters, like, you didn't have to. Now, the reason I bring this up is because I'm actually kind of pissed at, like, Marvel's Avengers and stuff like that. Like, of course, like, Marvel's Avengers, fun movie, great movie to watch in the theater and stuff, but then, like, when you have to, like, slog through, like, 30 minutes of backstory and people just sitting around and just, like...
Didn't forget. Just don't care.
When you see this, like, 30 minutes of backstory, you're just sitting there like, I came here to watch superheroes kick some butt and, like, talk some, you know, like, strategies and stuff, but no, we're here now for Black Widow and Hulk backstory. Like, that's what the Avengers seems to do to me. This movie doesn't do it. It tells you exactly what you need to know, but nothing more on Dom, and it tells you nothing more on any other characters. You know, Ariadne is a student that was, like, studying under Dom's father, or father-in-law, one of those two. He was studying under Michael Caine. It's the actor. She was studying under Michael Caine, and Michael Caine's like, oh yeah, like, she's a good student. And that's all you know, like, she's a good student. Like, what the heck else do you need to know about Ariadne? Like, no one cares about Ariadne because she's not important to the storyline, and she doesn't have to be, you know? And so that's what I really like about the story, is that, like, it was really good at keeping its focus and really good at staying on one track, and then kind of confusing you as well, making you think by throwing in all these other plot devices and, like, all these other ideas that the movie itself created. And so overall, like, I probably fanboy too much about this movie because I just love it. I love the mind screw genre of movies. That's why I like this movie, and I really like the book Ender's Game. The movie was okay, and I really like the movie Edge of Tomorrow. Those are, like, my three favorite things. It's just, like, these weird sci-fi kind of movies. Overall, I'd say this is a really good movie. You should go ahead. It was released 6 years ago, so it obviously won't be in theaters now, but you should go ahead to your local movie store, your Walmart, your Target, your whatever, and buy a full version of this movie, because it's just, I think it's that good. Like, some other people might not, but I think it's that good. And if you like suspense action movies, go ahead and pick it up, and maybe you'll get it, like, your first time through, because, like, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, it's so confusing, don't get it my first time through, but sometimes you will. And yeah, I think that's where I'm going to end it now. I hope you guys did enjoy this movie review. If you did, go ahead and leave a like and a comment on what I could have done, or suggestions, or what you think could do better with this review. And if you guys want to stick around to see what else we do here on Creative Avenue, hit that magic red button underneath our channel name, and that's all I have to say. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you on the flip side.